Hey friends. I guess a lot of music wants to come out today. I I had an interesting experience this morning. I woke up and I was in that between dream and awake space. And I had this vision of myself, not to overblow the experience, but I had an image come up that I could tell in my sort of half asleep state was my authentic self, a version of myself that's fully giving my gift. And immediately there's layers of like resistance or separation that just popped up, and I immediately felt myself reject. I felt myself reject myself. I watched it happen, and I was watching it like, it wasn't like it wasn't an emotional experience. It was like watching a movie in my psyche of myself, my mind, really, to be specific, rejecting my authentic self. And I was like, what? It's like, it was one of those things where, how you wake up from dreams and something will be so vivid in a dream and so real, but then within a couple of seconds, as our consciousness shifts into waking consciousness, it all just goes away. It just goes right back below the surface into the subconscious. And sometimes a lot of the time we don't even recall what the dream content was, but even if we do, we don't really, all of a sudden it feels much less significant. All of a sudden the meaning of the images or the meaning of the experiences is kind of like gone, and we can just talk about it like a hypothetical. And so I got up, I came out and started doing my yoga, my morning physical routine, and I was like, wait a minute, did I just literally reject myself? Did I just watch myself reject my authentic self? Let me not skip over that. Let me come back and hold on. Let's revisit that moment. And I came out, and so I don't know really how I managed to catch it, but my mind, it just kind of pinged. My mind went, wait a minute, let's take a look at this. And so I went and sat and wrote a little bit, and that's when I was kind of able to recall what happened. But I think this, it feels relevant because as I do the work around giving my gift, growing, rising to meet myself, it's that what I did in my dream of rejecting my own most authentic expression of myself. I'm sure I do that constantly. I'm sure I do that day in and day out without noticing that I'm doing it. In my conscious waking life, I'm in various ways, from subtle to obvious, rejecting that thing, that impulse that wants to come through. And maybe we could stop doing that. maybe I could start and it reminded me actually of something that I wrote ages ago. There was a time when I was still in my grad school days. I was writing. I wrote like this furious journal entry about my financial predicament at the time and how I saw myself producing all the income that I need and sustaining my family and living a great life, all while remaining true to myself, to my most authentic expression of self. And when I wrote that, I almost wrote it ironically. I perceived it as something so ludicrous that it could never possibly be true or be an actual possibility. But it only took but I read it to a couple people at some point. I got up the gumption to share it with a couple of people close to me, and they were like, "That sounds great. That sounds like you nailed it. That's exactly what you're gonna do." And I was like, "Oh." But so there was this inherent of a deeply authentic and honest and vulnerable expression of my own that I was already in the creation of it hedging against, and kind of I almost had to write it like it was a satire in order to get it out. But I couldn't write it as a heartfelt, honest expression. I had to write it as a ludicrous, the idea, the fanciful ravings of a lunatic is the way I had to see it in order to allow myself permission to express it. And what happened to me last night or this morning is kind of like a version of the same thing, where I see something really true, really honest, really real, and then I close the door on it. So now I know that. Now I know that pattern is still there, alive and well. Helpful to see. Helpful to see. It's like understanding the terrain we're navigating. If we know how that works, then we can catch it. We can stop it. So anyway, I wanted to share that because it felt like a very interesting bit of insight coming through. Thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate you. Have a great day. I will see you soon.